Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to be doing my 2024 Republican primary candidates tier list rankings. And at worst, we have horrible candidates that will drop out immediately. And then we have won't get above 10% candidates, so below average. And then we have in the middle type candidates, average and decent. And then we have above average candidates, which are pretty much solid, could win the nomination. And then at best, we have good enough to win the election or general election, the best candidates at the very top. So first, we actually have 10 candidates that have announced so far. We have 10 candidates. We have 10 total Republican candidates for the primaries so far that are in. And first, let's start off with Nikki Haley. I'm going to rank Nikki Haley at average and decent. She's actually polling in third place right now behind Trump and DeSantis. So if you remove Trump and DeSantis out, she actually takes the first spot. So she's just at third place. So she's actually, I would say she's pretty average, and she's pretty decent. She's third place behind Trump and DeSantis. So I don't think Nikki Haley would be that bad. She's pretty much polling around 5 to 6% as if right now. So I'm going to put her somewhere in the middle. I don't think she's the worst candidate, and she's definitely not the best candidate. So she's pretty average and decent. She's third place. And keep in mind, there are 10 total candidates right now, and she is in third place. So that's pretty much fair to put her in decent. So she is. So now Mike Pence. I'm going to put Mike Pence as won't get above 10%. So I'm going to put Mike Pence, I'm going to rank him as below average. I think Mike Pence is below average in the 2024 Republican primaries. He just won't get above 10%. And I don't think he might not even get above 5%. He is currently polling at around 4% or 5%. So he's at around 4 to 5%, and he's definitely not going to get above 10%. So Mike Pence is not going to get above 10%. He is a below average candidate. And he might stick in the race for some time. He's not going to immediately drop out. Maybe it might take a couple months for him to drop out. So Mike Pence, I don't think he will get above 10%. I think he's going to stick in with around 5%. So Mike Pence is below average in the primaries. And next we have Tim Scott. I'm going to put him somewhere somewhere next to Nikki Haley. I think he's average. I think Tim Scott is decent. He is currently polling below 5%. The reason why I'm putting him above Mike Pence, even though Mike Pence is polling above Tim Scott, is just the fact that I would say Tim Scott would be, a little bit more liked among the Trump base rather than someone like Mike Pence currently. So even though Mike Pence is doing better than Tim Scott, the reason why I have Tim Scott above Mike Pence is because when it comes to appealing to the Trump base, I think Tim Scott has more of an advantage. And I think he's similar to Nikki Haley. They're from the same state. So I think matching Tim Scott with Nikki Haley together would be pretty good. And actually, if Nikki Haley were to win the nomination, I think she would actually pick Tim Scott as her running mate, and same goes for Tim Scott. If Tim Scott were to win the nomination, that's why I'm putting them together. I think Tim Scott would choose Nikki Haley as his running mate. So I think that's pretty much fair. So far we have 3 candidates up here. There are 10 total. Mike Pence, I'm putting him below average. He won't get above 10%. I think he's going to stick in with around 5%. And then we have Nikki Haley, who is average, decent. I'm going to put her in the middle because she is in third place out of all the 10 candidates so far. And Tim Scott is average as well, in the middle. So next, we have former governor of New Jersey and former 2016 Republican candidate who lost and ended up dropping out, obviously, Chris Christie. I'm going to put him at horrible. I think he is one of the worst candidates up here. I think he's going to drop out immediately. It might take him a month or two, but I think he might be one of the first to drop out. If not, probably behind someone like Asa Hutchinson or Doug Burgum. He's going to be within those type of people. I do not get why he is running. He knows he's going to lose. He is polling at around 1%. He is not going anywhere. I think he's running for the fame because it's obvious he's not going to get above 5%. So he's one of the worst candidates up here. He attempted to do it in 2016. He failed to do so. And he's trying to do it again in 2024. It's not going to get any better than that. I do not understand why Chris Christie is doing this to himself. He's not going to get anywhere. I think Trump is going to destroy him in debates. And if they go back and forth, Chris Christie is just going to get blown up by Donald Trump. It's going to be an utter disaster. I do not get why Chris Christie is doing this to himself. He's going to get destroyed in the debates. And his polling numbers are going to be a big advantage for Donald Trump to take over and expose Chris Christie in the debate. So Chris Christie is one of the worst candidates up here. Next, we have Ron DeSantis. I'm going to put Ron DeSantis above average, and I'm going to put him in the could win the nomination. So Ron DeSantis is a solid candidate, and he very well could win the nomination. He is very liked among Floridians. He won by double digits in a state that is supposedly a battleground state, and he's turning the state more and more red each year. DeSantis is very well liked among Republicans in general, not just Floridians as well. And, Trump and DeSantis may have been, separating a little bit, but I think it's still safe to say that DeSantis is a solid candidate. Number one. Number two, he still could win the nomination. He is in second behind Donald Trump. So it's fair to put him as a solid candidate because he's second. He's in second place. He's polling at around 22%. So DeSantis is definitely better than Nikki Haley. DeSantis is definitely better than Tim Scott. DeSantis is better than Mike Pence so far. And as so far of the candidates up here. And Mike Pence is better than Chris Christie. So I'm going to put him second place behind Donald Trump. He could win the nomination. He is a solid candidate for Ron DeSantis. Next, we have Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm going to put him at around with Mike Pence. He won't get above 10%. He's below average. And he's polling at about, I would say, 3%, I believe. He's definitely going to get under 10%. He could reach 5% potentially, because he's not really that much well known. He's an outsider, and he's not known for being a politician. He's just jumping into the race like randomly, and not a lot of people know him. So when he jumps, when he's in the debates, he definitely will get more support. As when people get to know him more, he definitely will. His numbers will go up, but will it go up that much? No, it's gonna stay below 10%. So that's where I have Vivek Ramaswamy at. He is just unpopular. He's not that well known, which is the main reason why I have him around 5%. And next we have former candidate of California, Larry Elder, who got destroyed by Gavin Newsom in the recall back in 2021. And I'm going to put Larry Elder with the won't get above 10%. I think Larry Elder is going to be within maybe 2 to 5%. He's polling below 5% right now. So I think Larry Elder is just, I would say, a below average candidate. He didn't get a lot of turnout from Republicans in California, so he definitely won't in the primaries. So I think he's going to drop out pretty soon as we start in August. It won't be immediately, but he's probably going to drop out very quickly because he's polling under 5%, and he's not going to want to stay in there for longer, trust me. And next we have Governor of Arkansas, I believe, Asa Hutchinson, and I'm going to put them at horrible. I think he's pretty much close to Chris Christie at this point. He's a dropout candidate. I don't think he's going to get anywhere. He's polling at 1%, I believe, or 2%, whatever, it doesn't matter. Still not going to get the nomination. They know it. Both Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson both know it. They're running for the fame. They're running for popularity. They're running for the fun at this point. Like, let's be for real here. They're both going to drop out at around the same time, probably a month or two, right after the first debate in August. And next we have Doug Burgum. I'm going to put him at horrible dropout candidate. He's polling below 3%. And those three people ranked in horrible dropout candidates, Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, and Doug Burgum, are all three of them will drop out within 2 months of the first debate in August. I think they're all going to drop out at similar times. They're going to be the first ones to drop out. So this is a hot take. Let me know if you agree with me with this hot take. My prediction is Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, and Doug Burcham. All three of those people will be one of the first people to drop out of all the 10 candidates. So let me know if you agree with me on that hot take. And now we have one more candidate up here, and that is Donald Trump. I think this one's pretty obvious. We're going to put him at the number one spot because he's polling at above 50%. He has the majority of the votes of the entire party. It's either riding with Donald Trump or not riding with Donald Trump at this point. Donald Trump is good enough to win the election because he's done it before in 2016. All these other candidates are unproven. So Donald Trump is the best candidate up here. So at number one, we have Donald Trump. DeSantis holds the number 2 spot. Nikki Haley, Tim Scott. Nikki Haley at number 3. Tim Scott at number 4. Mike Pence at number 5. Vivek Ramaswamy at number 6. Larry Elder at number 7. And then we have Chris Christie at number 8. Asa Hutchinson at number 9. And the worst candidate of all, at number 10, last place, is Doug Burcham. So